Before we start this video, I think it's important to let you know that I went through the trouble to film this video in several different ways. At first, I was going to just do a short, just showing you how I broke down YYZ slowly to show you how I learned how to play it to the best of my knowledge and ability. But then that wasn't really working, so I decided to go back to what I know best and what I like best, which is filming a non-short, just a regular YouTube video talking about Rush and my approach to learning how to play YYZ and their other songs, or any other band songs. Then I go back and I watch the video, and it's like from here down, because I wanted to make sure that you could see the bass. It's really been tough lately. I'm just trying to get everything sorted out. I've been trying to work on getting the audio to sound better. I was working with this one interface, and then I had the sound coming out of one side, and I just don't have all the time that I need to really perfect this stuff. But at the same time, the show must go on. I feel like I have to put content out or put videos out for you guys. I hate using that word content, but I just feel like I need to put videos out for you guys and keep communicating with you guys and talking to you about music, because that's what I love to do. So just take this video with a grain of salt, man. I mean, I don't know. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. I just feel like there are a lot of things that I said in there that could be useful. You guys let me know. Enjoy the video. And once again, thank you for watching. You know, the funny thing is, from the moment I started listening to Rush, I never even attempted or even dreamt of trying to play any of their songs. Once I started truly sitting down and trying to play Rush songs during the pandemic, one word came to mind for me. Maybe two words, but the first word that came to mind when I thought about just working on Rush compositions was challenging, because that's what they are. But they're only challenging when you look at it from the perspective of trying to do it exactly the way Geddy Lee does it. And you shouldn't do that, honestly. The moment I stopped trying to do it exactly like Geddy Lee, I at least started to put the pieces together. And a perfect example of that is YYZ. That's slow, but those changes, they come to you a lot quicker, or they come at you a lot faster than you realize. And when you listen to some of the raw tracks, you can go out there and look around, and you can hear just the bass and drums. It's so clear. You can hear the punch-ins on YYZ especially. Now, I'm not saying that Geddy can't do it, because obviously he does it. He does it night after night. He is a true Jedi master of the bass. But when they were recording that stuff, he's figuring out what he wants to put in there. He had to do punch-ins. This is the reality of studio recording. So that's not a slight against him or anything. So anyway, learning these parts, I started to realize that it was very, very important to at least start from the very beginning, no matter how long it took, because so many people underestimate that high C, or the C on the G string, to F sharp on the D string. So see, I already messed that up. He goes. That's not exactly how it's done, but those are the parts. Then it slides into the main riff. And the main riff is, so I'm playing it like at half speed, basically, because you hear all that and you get really intimidated. And then there's the fills. So this is one of those things. These guys had time to work this stuff out. Geddy Lee has a way of playing. And another thing I've noticed, if you're trying to learn his songs, it's best to not dig in the way he digs in. Just let him do what he's doing, because for so many years, you know, I got a lot of strong influence from Geddy Lee as a young bassist coming up. And this is something that's really important to mention. And I'm not the only bassist to do this, and I'm not comparing myself to Geddy Lee or any of these other bass players. But there are bass players out there, and I'm one of them, who are afraid to learn covers and learn other people's stuff. So I've never been in a cover band. I have been in bands that did covers of certain songs that we kind of made our own. And when I say that, we didn't make it our own the way Devo made the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction their own. But I'm just saying where we kind of, it was like a signature thing that we would do for our shows, and people liked to hear those covers. But as time went on, I started to realize that I was doing myself a great disservice by not learning how to play the bass lines of many of my heroes, you know, like to not learn their stuff. I was really hurting myself. And when I started learning these bass lines, it really started to open up a lot of doors for me, and it kind of got my broken theory back in check. The only thing I can really lean on and rely on with my bass playing is my ear. That is my only salvation. That is the only thing that gets me through and allows me to kind of know where to go. So with these songs, the only way for me to figure them out is to listen to them over and over and over. So if it's your desire, your goal to learn Rush songs or any other band songs, you've got to start by just listening to them over and over and over and over. I'm not kidding you. I never even attempted to play YYZ until the year 2020. I'd been listening to this band since 89, 88, 80, 89. That was when I really started to dig into Rush and started getting into them. But I was like, no way, I'm not up to that caliber of bassist. And I'm still not, you know, I'm no Geddy Lee, but his bass lines had a strong influence, and to the point to where people would tell me in other bands I played in, or they'd be like, hey, that line you did there, it reminds me of Rush. There's one video in particular where I had talked about a bandmate who did not like a particular bass line that I was playing because she said it reminded her of Rush, and she hated Rush. And it really upset me and offended me to the point to where I was like, I can't be in this band anymore if you don't like Rush, which is kind of stupid when you think about it. But it used to bother me if the people I played music with, if we weren't aligned somewhat, if we didn't have some of like similar influences, it would bother me. But little did I realize that that's kind of what makes bands special, when people have their own influences and their own styles and they mesh them together. And you know the whole deal. But anyway, back to Rush, because that's mainly why I did this video, because someone asked me to do that, and I've thought about doing stuff like that because it's easy for me to slow it down, because you have to. When you want to learn this stuff, you listen to it 1,000 times and then you slow it down. So you don't need to just jump right in and go. You just need to go. Like I said, you've got to just get all of those pieces that you can't underestimate that, man. You cannot underestimate that part, because that is where it's like locking your rhythm in, you know? And then of course, when it gets to the this part here, what really makes this challenging to learn, you're hearing Neil, all of his hits, the snare and everything, while Geddy is basically going, and then, so that's it. That's all I want to say about that. I mean, we could get into some of their other songs, because there's some great bass lines on Moving Pictures, because I didn't really dive deep into Moving Pictures when we talked about it earlier this year. Even Tom Sawyer, this is another one that it sounds so much harder than it truly is. It's one of the easier tracks to play on that album, and it's... It's all about slowing it down. So I was going to try to put this into a short, and I said, you know what, screw that. I just want to be free to talk as long as I want to talk about the stuff. And even if I make some mistakes, I think you guys kind of get the gist of it, because I've had people approach me or even talk to me about YYZ in particular, and asking me how I learned it. Did I read tablature? And I'm like, no, I grew up listening to it and not trying to attack it, because whenever you're trying to decipher any musical piece, you have to first listen to it. You have to have it memorized. You have to listen to it over and over and over and over. And I'm telling you, when I first sat down to work on that song, I did not jump around. I sat there on the beginning of that song. I did it over and over until I just had it completely memorized, even though I goofed it up there in the beginning. They wouldn't put it there if it wasn't like, if it didn't feel right and if it wasn't somewhat challenging. I would love it if Geddy Lee saw this and said, look, dude, you need some work, and we could sit down and work it out. I would love to work on this with Geddy Lee. I would love to sit down with him and be like, dude, show me what you're doing in general, because he does a lot of things, like especially in signals, where I think he really starts to just go off on the bass. Oh, I love this part. And then there's the, I mean, he just does some really killer bass fills. And honestly, that stuff has just been an influence on me without having to learn his songs. It's just brilliant, you know? I could listen to him play all day, and I love his voice too. I mean, I dig it. And the fact that he sings and plays all this stuff is just, it's insanity to me. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. I know this stuff isn't perfect, but still the fact remains, when I'm trying to learn something, the first thing I do is I make sure that I truly have it completely like here and here. It has to be in my heart. I have to really feel that song. I have to listen to it over and over, and I can play it. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll have another video out to you soon. Take care.